2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to
I move
approve.
to
I'll move
approve.
it, Angela.
Loran
Angela-
seconds it.
Excellent. Any conversation? Seeing none, can I have a vote? All in favor? I guess just all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, excellent. What I would say, being that we can't really see people, nobody's on, just say your name when you speak so everybody knows who you are, I guess. Any comments? We need it on. Any comments or concerns of any person present today? I don't see really anybody else on except for I know Manny's on. If anybody has any comments. Seeing none, the investigative report I can put up on my screen.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members and guests. This is Janita Hamill from Investigations. Just to let you know, Director Brown will not be attending. She had a family emergency. And I don't know if anybody from legal is here, but
I don't see anybody.
Leslie O'Brien left DCP a week ago. She doesn't work for DCP anymore. And neither does attorney Ryan Burns. He went to public health, I believe. However, Paul Grabowski was one of our attorneys who left and returned, and he will be in charge of the attorneys for the professional and the occupational boards and commissions. So Paul Grabowski is the new managing attorney for this board, the professional boards and the occupational boards. So I'm just putting that out there. But anyway, for the occupational report, I apologize, for the professional architect's report. I'm sure everyone will see that there's the 2023 file with a name that is well known to this board. Legal closed it because it states that the new allegation that was brought up was addressed in the assurance of voluntary compliance on the 2018-134 file that they closed. However, I do not see that Attorney Grabowski or Attorney Fernandez are here. So that's the best answer that I could give for that at this time.
Could we possibly
Then-
get one of them at the next meeting to get it? I'm curious about what the resolution was.
I'm sure if Rochelle puts it out as a notice that it was requested that they attend, I guess I don't know how that works. I just know
Yeah,
I have a
I'll pass
standing. All
along.
right, thank you. Thanks, Rochelle.
No problem.
Then the other two files that were closed, the first one, 2023-84, was an anonymous complaint, and the investigator, after investigation, closed it as a dispute of facts. It was a town employee acting in their capacity as a town employee, apparently is what he's saying. So, the file was closed. And then the next one, the 2023-91, he closed as a lack of jurisdiction because the consumer complaint and the house and the issue happened in the state of New York, where we have no jurisdiction outside the boundaries of the state of Connecticut. And
Is it somebody that's licensed in Connecticut though? Do you know?
no, there's no license number that appears. So I believe for some reason the complaint came into our complaint center and they entered it. but I believe both the complainant and the respondent live in the state of New York, where we would not have jurisdiction.
Okay,
And then the rest of the files show open cases. It shows files that are up in legal. So the report shows that there's 12 open, that there are 3 that were closed, where it shows, as always, when it was referred to legal, it's in there. I believe at the in-person meeting that we had in Hartford, your last meeting, that Director Brown mentioned, and I think I might have mentioned, the department, for people who are not licensed and do not respond to the department when we attempt to get a response from them, and they're absolutely not licensed, there was a law that was passed, and there's a centralized infraction bureau, and the investigator, Keith Lombardi, and myself are working with Cynthia Fernandez to come up with a reporting system that we would be able to say, we received a complaint, we mailed a letter to them, they did not respond. We emailed the letter to them. If they had an email letter, they did not respond. We sent them a second letter. They did not respond by mail. We contacted them again by email. The investigator went and left a copy at their house. The investigator went and left a copy at the supposed place of business. And then on top of that, we get to do a certified letter, at which time we notify legal that these are exhaustive steps that we took. Please refer it to the Centralized Infraction Bureau to bring them into court. It's kind of like a ticket that they receive. It's an infraction, and they have to go to regular court on that ticket to appear, pay a fine, and hopefully force them to respond to us. So there are about 4 files that are of older nature that we are attempting to get that process together. And I believe that's all I have. Unless you or any members of your board have any questions or concerns. If I can answer them, I will try. If not, I will point you in the right direction, I hope.
appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the report or for Janita?
No, thank you.
All right, Tina,
I do.
appreciate your time. Go ahead, Angela.
I'm curious if I don't know if we call them the defendant, but the person under investigation, if they have a company that's licensed with the state of Connecticut, a corporation or LLC, is the Secretary of State's office notified?
When they don't respond to us?
Yeah.
I don't believe so, because I believe the way this Centralized Infraction Bureau was created or came about, it's basically to get them into court on this ticket. I'm sure the question could always be put to Attorney Fernandez and Attorney Grabowski, if about the possibility.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Angela. Feel better.
Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Seeing not, let's move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Janita. Great report.
Thank you, Angela. You're welcome. Everybody have a good day.
You too. Feel better.
Thanks.
Okay, so old business, this isn't actually on the agenda. I put it on my copy because I realize it's an open item from the last meeting. It's in our minutes as an open item. We had requested additional information from this person. Did we hear back from them at all?
No, I never received a response. And I did check in e-license and excuse me, it looks like they are active. So I'm not sure where they need the waiver now.
It's a little bothersome that they're active. They
Yeah.
submitted for a waiver, which meant they didn't meet the requirement. But if I remember correctly, they stated that they would meet the requirement by the end of December. I guess they basically granted themselves a waiver. So, I mean, do we have any recourse or anything at this point? I'm not really sure that we do, but I would be curious to know how they filled out the renewal form. They either lied or somehow got past the part that says, did you complete your continuing education? Unless they didn't renew until December.
Excuse me. Yeah, I didn't see if, let me see. I didn't look to see when they actually renewed. Let's see.
I can dive in on this. So
Yeah.
they submitted their renewal on July 28th. And usually, so I'd assume it's the case here, they wouldn't be able to proceed with their renewal without saying, yes, I'm going to be in compliance with my CE. If they say no, they get kicked out and it says you have to complete it as a requirement before renewing. So usually I think what happens is people, of course, because they're renewing last minute, they're in whatever situation, maybe the waiver couldn't have been reviewed prior to the expiration date, they are left making the decision, well, do I renew late or, and have that messed up as well as my CEs, or do I at least renew and then deal with the CE aspect later? So they said yes to the question so that they could get through, and then they provided the date that they would have it completed by as the end of December 28th to be exact.
Oh.
So they
Okay.
kind of gave themselves permission, yes, so they could get
They
through
gave
with their
themselves
renewal on
permission.
time, but
Right, so
rather
they
than
kind of gave
renewing
themselves
late.
permission. but they didn't
Ideally,
actually-
it would be they need to be in compliance prior to renewing. So, if someone was to call us and inquire how they should do this, we would say, no, unfortunately, you should not be renewing until you have the CE satisfied. And at
Right,
that point,
so-
they just deal with any penalties because of that.
Right. Okay, so I'm not sure there's anything we can actually sanction them with, but I'm curious if what everybody's opinion is of, should we at least send them some sort of notification or a letter that explains to them that what they did was not proper and that they can't grant themselves a waiver? That the deadline is April 30th. What's everybody else's opinion?
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, I
This is
agree.
Lorianne.
I agree.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, fine. So, I mean, unless anybody disagrees, I'm happy to draft a letter. And then, I guess, I'm not sure with the letter, I guess the letter would the letter come from me then as the board chair, or Maggie or Rochelle? Who would actually send the letter? The state?
I could check in with someone from legal too, just to double check. I know there's kind of like an educational notification that sometimes is offered to be sent out for sort of an enforcement issues like this. So I'm not sure if we should handle it or if it should come from you, but I can definitely get the answers and we can move forward with it.
That's fine. So why don't you just coordinate with me, and if I need to draft it, I'm happy to do that.
Sure, will do.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Phil, it's Angela. There was an individual that we needed more information from, that the waiver request was just kind of nondescript. Is this the same individual?
It's not the same individual, and I think, I could be wrong, but I think that we actually voted on that at the last meeting because we had agreed that the additional information was going to maybe break some privacy acts. And so I didn't see it as an open item when I went back through the minutes. So unless somebody else has a better recollection of it, but this is not the same individual. That was somebody that was asking for a waiver based on some medical conditions.
Okay, thank you.
So new business, the following candidates have passed the ARE and are recommended for licensure in the state of Connecticut. I don't see either one of them on, but the two people are David Himmelman and Nicholas Rapello. So can I have a motion to accept them for licensure in the state of Connecticut?
This is Lorraine. I move to have them receive their license.
Second. All in favor?
Angela, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. All right, I'm not going to read the 42 names of people that have applied for licensure by waiver of exam. You can see the names there. That's just for informational purposes. Then 6C. Are applications for corporate practice of architecture. Again, this is for informational purposes. There's 6 corporations on that list. Then the next item is an application to sit for the examination without the NAAB degree for Nina Caruso. And I stepped down and did the review of this, which should have got distributed to everybody yesterday. Before, Angela, I know you and I had a conversation about this, but before we go any further, I need somebody to tell me, can I vote on this even though I'm the one who stepped down for it? And the reason I'm asking is because Angela may step down otherwise and accuse herself because she has had some contact with this person in the past. I don't want to do anything that's wrong, but I need 3 votes. Somebody chime in.
My recollection, this is Lorraine, was that in the past, the person who did the review didn't vote. But I'm going purely by recollection.
So you're the attorney on the board, so I'm gonna ask you this question then, and I know this is
Who,
all.
me?
Yes, I know you're not the board attorney, but you are an attorney. So I'm going to ask Angela not to recuse herself in that case, even though in the past she has had some contact with this person. But I don't think that it sways her decision one way or another, just because she has some knowledge of the person, because I
I
need
agree.
3 people to vote. Okay.
Well,
So-
as long as Angela's comfortable with that, the other option, as I see it, is to put it over for the next meeting. If Angela's not comfortable with that.
Angela, are you comfortable with voting?
I feel I can make an objective decision.
I'm sure you can. So, okay. So with that said, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I did a review of this. I spoke to the person, Nina's current employer. I spoke to her previous employer where she worked for multiple years. I included in the documents I sent yesterday her very extensive resume. I will tell you that I've done these reviews in the past. I've known a lot of people that have applied for the exam with the education, without the education. This is one of the best applications I've ever seen. This
Great.
woman has tremendous resume. She's got a wealth of experience. She's got although in my report it says that she has 6,100 hours of continuing education, she didn't even count the last year because she just stopped doing AXP once she was so far beyond it, but she's really more like 8,000 hours. NCARB actually has in their criteria even allows you to get certified with NCARB and waive some education requirements once you do double AXP. So I highly recommend that the board vote in favor of letting her sit for the examination. So with that said, can I get a motion? Somebody move to approve her application to sit for the exam,
Julia, this
please.
is Julia. I move to have her be allowed to sit for her examination.
Can I get a second?
This is Lorraine. I second it.
All in favor? Any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's approved unanimously. I don't see her on, so, but Maggie or Rochelle, if you wouldn't mind telling her, but I'll probably call her after the meeting or send her an email and tell her myself, so. Okay. So, Luann, we've kind of bypassed where we wanted to put you in there about, you have some comments. So why don't we talk about, you mentioned something about some interior design issues or,
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Let me just shut the windows, make sure you guys can hear me. There's some
Yeah.
construction going on outside.
I can hear you fine, actually, so.
Okay, I've received 2 different emails regarding attorneys in New York, and they're coming from other counsel that I know, who are representing, architects in New York, trying to do business in Connecticut, but they're not architects. They're interior designers. They're, in one case, they were, projecting themselves with architectural services. In the other case, which is the one I just recently received an inquiry on, they are a designer, no architectural degree. They are actually performing some architectural services. And what the New York firm, architectural firm, and apparently the New York Council are suggesting is that they just get an architect of record to sign the contract. They're within the same firm, but let the interior designer do the work. And, I just find this sort of a workaround. And I don't know if anybody else has run across this. So I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
And I appreciate that. So, I mean, I guess just so I make sure I understand. So it's an interior designer that works in a firm that I'm assuming is owned by an architect. If that person, if the interior designer is doing the work, but the architect supervising the work and overseeing the work, then I don't really see anything wrong with it, but they shouldn't be signing and sealing documents if they're not, quote unquote, in responsible control of it and overseeing it. Because I mean, we all have people in our firms that do work that aren't licensed architects that are doing architectural work. They can't obviously be professing to be an architect. So I mean, there's a bunch of open issues there that we don't really know. But so
Correct.
on face
Correct.
value, I think there's ways it can work. But it doesn't work if this interior designer is just doing all the work and then saying, hey, by the way, Joe, can you sign and seal my drawing for me that you haven't seen? Then that's of course not right.
Okay. And that's what I had said to this Connecticut attorney, but apparently, what she had recommended and the firm totally disagreed with was have 2 separate contracts, one for interior design and one for the architectural services. And they said no, and I don't know why they said no.
Yeah, that would clearly simplify it.
Correct.
For sure.
Which
Yeah.
makes me question, and I have to go speak with her, whether or not the architects are actually overseeing the interior designer's work.
Right.
Okay,
But they're not licensed in Connecticut, right?
no.
I don't know if anybody has any other comments on that, but that would be my opinion. Does anybody have anything else? So, are the 3 of you all now registered and definitely going to Savannah?
I am. Luann.
Yeah.
I'm not
I can
registered yet.
see
I have to
the-
do it
yeah,
today. Yeah. I have to
But
do
you're
it.
going. So.
Yes, I'd like to go. Yeah, if I can.
Of
If
course,
not,
I
it's
sent
okay
it.
too.
No. So originally I wasn't going to go. I'm still not going. I'm actually going to the Builder Show in Vegas that week. But so I thought all 4 of you could go. Twig has backed out of going. So the 3 of you can absolutely go, and you'd all go under NCARP. So.
Nice.
So.
So I registered for it, this is Angela, but I did not get my flights yet. The flights are terrible in terms of timing and nothing direct on those days. So And then the education committee felt like they needed to schedule our annual in-person conference in San Francisco the weekend before Savannah.
That did make sense.
Yeah.
Well,
So I'm registered for both, but I haven't gotten flights for either of those yet because I'm just still struggling as to whether I can travel
Yeah,
2
understood.
weekends in a
So-
row.
All right, well, just let me know. I'll do a state report that they'll have, but one of you can just, whoever's there can obviously discuss any issues that are going on in Connecticut at the meeting, so. And I don't know if they have a virtual component. If they do, then I might try to get on part of it, so. All right, unless anybody has anything else, I think we're pretty much all set for today.
All right, great.
Thank
By the
you.
way,
Thank you. For anybody
Thank
who
you.
doesn't feel well, I wish you feeling better. It's been a bad,
horrible.
horrible season for colds. I know I got COVID right after the holidays, so.
Yeah, everybody's been getting sick. It's been
Yeah.
crazy, so.
Yeah.
All right, we'll feel better, everyone, and hopefully not too much though. Stay safe and enjoy the weekend.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
All right.
you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.